Persona 4 actor seemingly confirms Remake by saying Atlas doesn't want to hire him for it. This is from VGC, written by Jordan Midler. Persona 4 actor Yuri Lowenthal has seemingly confirmed the game's long-rumored remake by saying Atlas isn't casting him for it. Lowenthal, who played Yosuke? Yosuke.
He played this fucking game.
Listen, but then they immediately, the next game, they had the other guy. Yusuke is the same fucking name with like a slight difference to it.
Yeah, and despite that fact, I know both of them.
It'd be like if one was named James and the other was named Jones.
One of those is a fake name.
Yeah.
So you're demeaning the Japanese language.
No, it's the best I got to like pull out of my ass. What is it? It's like if one was named Tavin and one was
Bob
named
and Bill.
No, that's not enough. It's like if one was named Tavin and one was named Gavin.
That's more sense.
You know? It'd be like, and then you played that game and you didn't speak the language and you go, what the fuck? What kind of names are these?
Sounds like you need to
Yosuke.
get up.
I love Yosuke so much more than Yusuke, too. Yusuke kind of sucks. Yosuke Hanamura is, in the original game, responded to fan questions about what... I'm sorry. Lowenthal responded to fan questions about whether or not he'd appear in a remake as Yosuke Hanamura by saying he wouldn't because, according to him, he's already asked Atlas about the remake and has been told he hasn't been cast in it. In a post on Blue Sky, Lowenthal wrote, quote, "And for those who keep asking, no, I will not be returning as Yosuke for the Persona 4 remake. I asked, maybe I even begged, but they don't want me to come back." Neither Sega nor Atlas have announced a remake of Persona 4, but reports have persisted for some time that one is currently in development. The last Atlas remake, Persona 3 Reload, was released in 2024, where it was met with critical and fan acclaim. Yuri Lowenthal is a veteran voice actor, perhaps best known in video game circles as the voice of Peter Parker in Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man series. Persona 4 was released in 2008 on the PlayStation 2 and remains the third best video game of all time, making it one of the final significant releases for the system. The game eventually came to PS3 as a PS2 classic in 2014, but a native PS3 version was never released due to Atlas focusing its resources on Persona 5. A special edition re-release of the game called Persona 4 Golden was released on PlayStation Vita in 2012. This new version, which included new content and 2 new social links, was very well received when it was released and remains one of the Vita's best reviewed and best-selling titles. It's also just the Vita's best title.
Uncharted Golden Abyss?
Nope.
No, well.
It's an okay game. That Uncharted Golden Abyss, it's okay.
Severed?
Better
argument, huh?
Better argument.
So calm?
There's a SOCOM game
There
on
had to
Vita?
have been, right?
I don't know. Was there? I don't fucking know. Okay. It's also worth noting the actress for Chie and
Rize.
No.
No?
The red one. What is her name?
Yukiko?
Yukiko.
I've never played this fucking game.
Listen, I want it on the record. I know you said it right before I did, but I thought of it as you said it. It was me who spawned the memory, not you, okay? Not you. You fucking worthless sack of shit.
You know you're losing on this. I know the names
you
more.
put Metal Gear Solid 4 so fucking low.
I did.
Hey, we got a review for Metal Gear Solid 4 up on the YouTube channel. It's not going to be attached to this. It's too long. Anyways, we talked for an hour and 40 minutes about fucking Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. Please go watch that video. What was I saying? Persona 4.
By other actors.
Chie and Yukiko voice actors also not returning to the project. To which I go, guys, this is nothing to be excited about. Video game actors don't know anything unless they're directly involved with the project. It's not that they know that it's happening. It's just they know they're not currently voicing it. That's all they know, right? But then someone pointed out the actors have been saying this in the order that you get their characters in the game to join your party. And I went, that's interesting.
You think it's marketing?
I think it's marketing. It might be a little bit of marketing. We might see the reveal of a Persona 4 remake, Connor, as early as this next week.
Games Fest. Summer Games Fest.
Summer Games Fest. Opening night live. Kicking it off. It's right there. Friday. Jeff Keighley, you got some Persona on your stage. But then I also thought, Connor, you know who publishes Persona games?
You're
there. Atlas. Say it with your chest. Come on. Atlas, yes, you're right. You know who Atlas has been improving their relationship with over the last couple of years?
Square Enix.
Nope. Try a console manufacturer.
Microsoft.
Xbox. You know what's coming up soon?
Summer.
A Microsoft Xbox Showcase.
Was that happening?
The 17th, I
Yeah.
think. Google it. The Xbox Showcase is
that.
happening quite soon. Do we see Persona 4 Remake at Xbox Showcase? I think there is a non-zero chance that happens.
Wow, very dedicated statement right there. Non-zero chance.
If I were
There's
to
a
bet-
non-zero zero
if I
chance
were
we
to
get hit by
bet-
an asteroid tomorrow.
If I were to bet money, I would say no. We're not getting an announcement for this game for probably another year. But there's a chance we get it within the next couple of weeks.
This Sunday.
This Sunday. Oh, wow, look at that. I'm not going to be too busy to fucking react to that.
Mm.
Cool. Great times. Can't wait to not see that live. Fantastic. Anyways,
I
Persona
don't think
4.
you care.
Huh?
I don't think you care.
Why?
I think you.
Last year's Xbox Showcase was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
It was phenomenal.
Well, was it fantastic?
Yes, it was one of the best showcases ever.
There's so many of them.
They're
There
really good at
wasn't
making
really-
Xbox really good at making showcases, not so good at making video games.
So it goes.
I want to see more Perfect Dark. I'm really excited to see more Perfect Dark.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah. Persona 4 Remake happening? Yes or no?
Oh, it's definitely happening. Really, the question is this an indication that they aren't coming back? Because what you said does make sense. Or is it an indication that they're just playing some little marketing campaign to hype it up? Because
This is a weird marketing campaign.
it'd be, if it is, yeah. Because here's the thing, though. The Japanese voice acting industry is not the same as not even, I would say, U.S. voice acting industry. I guess I'm not confident enough saying about UK. I'm assuming there's some differences, right? There's a split between how the things
And
work.
different like agencies that you would sign up for and get jobs from.
Yeah.
You know, but
Maybe West is more broad. And I've done this before where I compare Western game aspects of Western game development to Japanese, Eastern game development. And you can argue about those things however you please. But something that I've noticed, and this is especially on the anime side, though I know it can happen with the video game side as well, specifically the original Persona 4. I'm not focusing on that because there were some voice acting changes that occurred from the original, like the original,
okay.
where, yeah, some voice actors should have been changed. Because have you listened to some of those old voice acting
No.
from that game? There's a lot that's not so great,
Oh, okay.
especially in comparison to 4. Like Gold.
I played Golden and I watched maybe a quarter of the anime.
Yeah, and the anime is the same as Golden. Point is, though, that it seems like voice actors are discarded a lot more when it comes to. I'm trying to think. I should have brought more examples because I looked them up before and I forgot them when this news first broke. There's like in Japanese, when a character is voiced by a certain voice actor, you can expect them whenever they show up, not only in other like versions of anime or movie or video games or whatever they originated from, but any kind of other kind of medium they cross over into. Like there's almost like this expectation where you stick with your character far more than you do when it comes to like English voice acting. It seems like they get swapped out a lot more.
Oh,
Again,
the Japanese swap them out a lot more.
no, the English American voice actors get swapped out more whenever they're brought onto other like.
I don't really see a difference between English and American. Like it's as long as you're speaking the language of
Yeah.
English, and I don't see this swapping out thing that you're talking about.
I think of it also in terms of Rize was changed in. We're sticking to Persona 4 to the singing, the dance Persona games that are popular.
Yeah.
I don't know who they're popular with. but
Dancing all night.
Dancing all night. Yeah. There's a third, like one for 3 and one for 5. They changed Rize's voice actor. I know that.
Okay.
Is there really a reason that there needs to happen? No.
Well,
Ken
you're also
Pach-
assuming it's always coming from top down.
That's true.
Sometimes an actor's just like, hey, I don't have time to do this, or
But
I'm not interested.
Going back into anime, Bleach. It's very famous. You may have heard about it before. There's a character named Kenpachi. They changed, at some point randomly, changed his voice actor from the original one to this new one that's not as good. They just I actually don't know if they ended up going with the original voice actor with the revival that happened recently, but I know he was like making a post on Twitter or one of those sites now.
The English dub.
Yeah, the English
Okay.
dub, saying like, I want to come back for this character. Again, he was removed and replaced back in the day when it was originally airing, and he still has this attachment to do this character. And so why was he changed originally? I don't know. It's just not something that happens in Japanese voice acting. Nico Robin, a character from One Piece.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to. This is mainly from anime. Maybe, 'Maybe, 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 'Maybe,
would you, someone who lives in America, like be aware of these things happening all the time?
Not necessarily, which is my perception
Yeah.
as an American person, but I've consumed dubs, I've consumed subs, Japanese, English, and there's a lot of definitive Japanese voices that never go away. And when I look, because I like looking up casting for anything, so very often when I think, did that character voice this person? I go back and I find out what other things they've worked in, and very often in the process of that, I find out that the same voice actor will do the same voice acting for a character for like 20 years. Because anime, of course, has lots of long running shows,
Right.
and so
Can I ask? Is it always a problem?
no, not always a problem.
Yeah.
I just think in this case, if we're taking it at the value of you have original voice actors who embody the characters very well, they personally love the characters a lot,
They've done it in multiple games.
and they want to come back for it.
Sure.
And they're being told, no, why not? What's the reason to change something that's already beloved and already well done?
Maybe go in a new direction. Maybe revitalize some of that dialogue. Maybe give another unknown name a chance to make a name for themselves.
And that could happen. I have a
What they
feeling
did for P3.
Yeah, did they?
Yep.
P3.
Those are not the same actors.
Some of them are, though.
No.
Like Junpei's the same.
I don't believe so.
Mitsuru's the same.
Pretty sure it's a new cast.
I have to look that up. But either way, I think it'd be kind of makes sense going in a new direction, or giving older voice actors who don't have as much of an established position in the industry a chance to shine. But I just don't feel like they would most likely do that. I feel like they'd just maybe go for somebody that may be cheaper.
I mean, the game is also almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
And these people were adults when they played the game, the characters initially. Like, I'm sorry, Yuri Lowenthal doesn't. I don't. Sure, he still can, but like, is he still gonna portray like the best high schooler ever vocally? Like, he's a little older, a little.
He
gruffer.
sounds like a high school. He sounds like he is.
I mean, he's a nasally guy, so he can still kind of do it sometimes, right? But like, I mean, there are times in Spider-Man where I'm like, you're not as young as, and that's a grown man, in those games. He's 20 something in Spider-Man 1, and even then sometimes I'm like, you're carrying this a little heavier than you probably should. Ashley Johnson in The Last of Us, even though specifically in part 2, even though in part 2 she is 19 years old, she doesn't act like it. She acts like she's in her upper 20s or whatever. And there's just a big difference between those two. Now, you could argue it's because Ellie had to grow up fast or whatever, this, that, and the third. But Ashley Johnson being almost 40 and, well into her 30s by the time she did part 2, there's an effect that happens there. Now, I'm not saying it happens all the time, and I'm not saying that these actors aren't talented and can't do it, but I've also played Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, and that voice cast came back, and they are fucking boring as shit in those roles that they initially voiced and were great in. So
great.
There's a lot of no, they were great. I mean, for the time, like look at the landscape of video games for the time.
But that's kind of my point. Where that's a case where the older voice acting in something like Metal Gear Solid 1 works for the game rather than just.
Right, but a lot of those actors have done voices in other stuff, and they're good actors.
Yeah,
like they're good actors.
Oh yeah, I'm no doubt. Yeah.
And then I think when you approach a remake, you have a couple of choices, right? You can't really. I think you have 3 choices. You bring the cast back and they re-record all their dialogue, which sometimes can work great, sometimes can work better than the original product, and sometimes it doesn't work out so well. You can bring in a new cast, shine some light, give them a shot. Sometimes that works great. Sometimes it works fine. Sometimes it doesn't work out so well. Or you can just do what the new Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater remake is doing and just reuse all the dialogue.
Yeah.
I don't like that choice. I don't like that choice at all. I think that's super, super boring. So to me, I don't see unless they're adding new content, I don't see the purpose in bringing the cast back because the game is just going to be the same. I mean, unless they're like voicing some of the dialogues that weren't voiced in the original game, that would be cool. But at the same time, now you gotta like voice match and do or if they're reusing any of that old stuff, that could be tricky. If they're just re-recording everything, now you gotta pay these actors who have been in the industry for a lot of time, so you gotta pay them a lot more. Maybe the budget's just not that high because it's a lower class remake. Like Persona 3 didn't have the same budget. I'm sorry, Persona 3 Reload did not have the same budget as Persona 5, right? and it's not going to have the same budget as Persona 6.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it feels realistic to me that the way they're churning out, the way they are maybe churning out Persona 4's remake, tells me they've kind of got all the systems made because of they took it all from 5, and so now it's just art
Mhm.
that they're bringing in. So like we either, but we want to bring in new voice talent, or we want to. I'm sorry, slow down. I'm going too fast.
Mhm.
We have a limited budget. I'm making excuses for them right here. We have a limited budget. We want the game to be voiced still. We could reuse dialogue. That would be boring. We want to add voiced segment to the scenes that weren't voiced initially, which I can't remember. Persona 3 Reload, is there non-voiced segments in that game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. But like with the social links,
No.
see, I can't speak to the original
no.
P3, but in P4, the social links are not voiced.
Mhm.
Except for maybe the first and the last one, you know, but everything in between mute, you know, and you're just reading. So they may want to be like, oh, well, let's do that. Well, we can't afford to pay these actors for the full job, maybe. Or maybe we just want to, I don't know. It could be, you know what I'm getting at?
I get what you're saying.
You know? So now it's like, all right, well, let's get some new talent who costs less, but they're still great because great actors, you know, are all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, certainly could be. Certainly be because they are.
I did a really bad job of explaining that.
It's complicated, especially because we don't know the intricacies
Yeah.
of all of this stuff. And at the end of the day, it could be because yes, my analysis is true. They cast off voice actors more so in this side. Sure, maybe it's just cold rational.
I think it's a
money
money
management.
The casting off actors thing, I think, is a perception thing for you. Like, I just don't think you see when the Japanese do it.
Yeah, maybe. I also see them like generally care about their characters more. Like when I watch English voice actors talk, very often they'll have characters they love voicing, but it seems like they more often don't like market the same way I've seen them market things over in Japan, where they kind of have to they do it with their whole chest.
Speaking as an actor, I don't know about that, but I also have never seen a Japanese press run, so
Yeah.
There's that part. That could just be a cultural. Yeah, I wouldn't say that with my chest if I were you.
Oh, I'm not. I mean, it's my perception.
Yeah,
but,
Anyways, as a big fan of Persona 4, and someone who wants this remake to happen, this doesn't bother me.
Mhm.
I think it's fine. Is it disappointing? I guess, but I'll be honest. Troy Baker's in that game. Troy Baker is a lot more expensive than he was in 2008. Is when the original game came out? No,
2007? No, 2000. One of those is right. With Golden, you're talking about
2008. Persona 4 was released in 2008 on the PlayStation 2. Troy Baker's much more expensive than he was in 2008. Yuri Lowenthal's much more expensive than he was in 2008. And these voices are also much more well known. It could distract from the narrative. Actually, it will distract from the narrative. When I found Troy Baker's character in the game and I went, "That Troy Baker?" It did break me out of the world of Persona.
That's because you're a dick sucker. That's all you are.
No, it's because I was in a post Last of Us world. And so, Troy Baker was just all over the fucking place. And I went, "Oh, it's Troy Baker. Cool."
Yeah, why does that matter?
Because I
Seems like you
can't,
kind of
because then I can't get the Troy Baker isms out of my head, and I'm focused on those instead of experiencing a fully flushed out character.
Welcome to voice acting.
Well,
Like I always,
I mean-
that's like every voice actor that's ever existed.
I mean, yes, but like, no, like,
It is.
well, no, because like when Samuel L. Jackson is in a movie, it's Samuel L. Jackson, not necessarily Nick Fury. You know what I mean? Like when Robert Downey Jr. is in the movie, it's Robert Downey Jr., not necessarily Tony Stark, right? You know what I'm saying? When Troy Baker does Joel, I see Joel, right? But when Troy Baker did
What game?
Persona, starts with a K.
Kenji? Kanji? Kanji.
Kanji.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kanji.
Kanji. That was distracting because I went, oh, fuck. That's weird. It's the same. It's the dude who did the Tales of the Borderlands. It's the dude who did Nathan Drake's brother. It's the dude, you know?
It seems like you're just saying like this voice actor did other work. And it's like, okay, yeah, but why is it infringing on this game and nothing else?
Because there are isms that get attached and they start wanting that. You know, Nolan North went on a run where he was just Nolan North for like 20 video games in a row because that's what they wanted him to do.
Yeah.
Right? Laura Bailey doesn't do that. I don't pick up on Laura Bailey when she does Mary Jane, when she does Abby, when she does fucking Black Widow. Like, there are isms that I can still pick out from her performances of just like her natural instincts as an actor and so forth. But like, I guess like it's just not as much of. Sometimes it's a problem when these really well-known actors inhabit roles that don't really fit for the like. It's like,
I get what you're saying.
Like,
I
Troy
don't agree
Baker's
with
also
it
not
at
the
all.
lead of the game.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's just distracting. It's just distracting.
These things are hang-ups I would never get. But, you know, you feel you.
Except you would. You're just nitpicking this argument.
I
because
literally
there's not a
have
face
never.
attached to
There's
it.
never been a character who's been
You've
voiced
never
by
watched a
anybody and
Samuel
been
L.
like,
Jackson movie and been like, that's Samuel L. Jackson.
No, that's my point. Is that I recognize who they are, but it doesn't do anything for like the character. It's not like I go, well, this character, I wish they would change it.
You've never felt, man, this guy just does the same role again and again. You've never felt that.
That's the difference between having them do a lot of the same roles again and just being in a role. They're two different things.
Okay, then I guess I've seen all the tricks Troy Baker has for that type of role.
Yeah.
And maybe you just haven't because you fucking spend too much time watching anime like a fucking idiot.
See, I know Troy Baker. I mean, not Troy Baker. There's other ones that are just as recognizable. It doesn't impact it because it doesn't matter. I do the same thing with Japanese voice actors.
This is a you thing.
Everybody,
this is a widely known thing of like
literally.
No, it's totally a widely known thing of like people going, oh no, yeah, I couldn't get past the fact that XYZ person was in this.
Because those people get hung up on useless, stupid things. Most people want these guys to come back. You're in the minority there. I'm not saying, well, most people want them to come back, so your opinion is
people
wrong.
do want them to come back because people don't understand how art and creation work.
It's because you have these
because
hang-ups
not because of this hang up. I'm just saying this is a thing. This is a thing I felt the first time I played the game, not now.
That's still your problem. Just like it's your problem.
I played the
now.
game and I went, that's Troy Baker, and he's doing all the Troy Baker isms.
He sounds like Troy Baker. He definitely does.
When Mark Hamill was in The Flash and playing the Trickster, you don't look at that and go, he's just doing his Joker voice. He's just doing the Joker.
Yeah, because he's playing the Trickster. What? I can guarantee. I don't know. I know
the same thing.
Because they're the same kind of character. One's more sadistic. That's like the difference.
That's the same thing where you watch that episode of The Flash and you go, that's just you doing the Joker. You're just doing the Joker.
Yeah, and when I was watching that episode, because I've actually watched this, I was like, he's doing a Joker voice because he's doing like the Joker character.
The dog just whined. This is a thing, and just because you don't experience it doesn't mean it's not a thing.
Just because you experience it doesn't mean it is a thing.
But this happens with other people. People criticize actors all the time for doing the same thing all the time. I get in fights with people at my work because they always say Denzel Washington plays angry black man. And I'm like, if you think that's all Denzel does, you don't understand nuance. Because he's one of the most talented actors of all time. He's got a lot of tricks in his bag. I'm just saying for this archetype, I've seen the Troy Baker tricks 100 times. So when I played the game, I was like, that's Troy Baker. And I can't get out of my mind that that's Troy Baker.
Seems like this is connected to Troy Baker as just a voice actor.
This is the prime example. Yuri Lowenthal's the same way. When I played Persona 4, I didn't know Yuri Lowenthal. Now I'm in a post Yuri Lowenthal explosion, so I've seen Yuri Lowenthal's tricks. And so now if I were to go back and play and see his Yosuke, I'd probably be like, that's Yuri Lowenthal doing his Yuri Lowenthal thing.
Does it impact the character though? Does it matter though beyond just who that guy is? That's my core thing here. Is that what is this change beyond just being a character?
It has the potential to break full immersion.
That's also the other issue where, going into Persona, for example, you've talked about it before when we've reviewed it, that you're like, oh, the Persona main character you play is a stand-in for you, right? That's like an
right, but I'm not talking about the main character.
I'm talking about like immersion in the sense of like certain things, and I've heard that from many people before as well, especially with silent protagonists. Like they put themselves in the role of whoever that character is. I've never gotten that at all. Like mainly with Persona, is that like to hammer home on that example when people are like, "Oh, I'm choosing dialogue options of what I would do rather than the character."
You think the character you play as in a Persona game is a fully flushed out real character with dimensions?
I think the issue is that they don't go that full route. Instead, they try to give you that element of like it's kind of you, but at no point in time, as immersed as I get in those games, this is what I would do. I still treat it like a character, just not a character that's fully realized in the same way other ones are.
I mean, there's a range of it. There's a range, and I've talked about this 100 times before. There's a range of like players putting themselves in the shoes of the characters, and then like it actually being a real character. The problem with Persona is it is you, but they as the creators assume you are the coolest and just best guy ever. Because you want to be, in your head, as Connor Elliott, you want to be the coolest and best guy ever, right? You want to always say, I would always make the right choice. I'd always be nice to my friends and so forth. But if you actually examine the character in a Persona game, their actions, they're a manipulative motherfucker, right? That's the thing, is it's just not done well. It's not like Fallout does it a little bit better when, like Fallout 3 and New Vegas do it a little bit better because it's a non-voiced character with a bunch of...
I think your foot's trapped.
What?
I think so, because like at the same spot, she was like moving and not moving earlier. Is it not? Like in the bars?
Her front 2 feet are fine.
Okay, then I'm hung up on things because I can't see her all the way. She's just spazzing out then. She looked like she was from over here.
Anyways.
Sorry, but get you off track.
And then like a Fallout character where you are supposed to inhabit, and they give you a bunch of dialogue options, and you read it out, and it's supposed to be you, right? That's a little more you. It just kind of turns you turning into like a kind of a psychopath. So it doesn't like really work in my opinion all the way. And then like there's something in the middle, like a Commander Shepard, where like Shepard has a character, you have influence over that character. And then there's a Witcher 3, where Geralt is a hardline character, and for some reason they give you dialogue options, and you go, this is not. This Geralt would not do this. So, like it's a range of things. And, Persona just falls on the other side of that, Why are we in this point?
Yeah, it was something about immersion and how people have weird hangups on immersion when they're just in their head. Was my overall point.
Well, I mean, it just breaks the, like, Ethan Hunt's not a character. It's just Tom Cruise,
Basically.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what that is what I'm talking about, where I go, that's not a new character to me. This is you doing your you thing, and that's what I meant to say with the Troy Baker-isms and the Samuel L. Jackson-isms, where you just go, all right, this is that actor who does the thing he does very well, but I've seen this 100 other times.
And that makes more sense for traditional actors, not voice actors.
I disagree.
I think voice actors get that kind of freedom. That's one of the benefits of it.
Nope.
Like they have certain ways they do things, but you immediately associate a completely different character, and they're acting differently by you just have certain hangups on their voice and how they portray that, and say, well, it prevents me from.
But if they do the same vocal tricks again and again, and I can identify it as a Troy Baker, when Kanji acts like Booker DeWitt, who acts like Sam Drake,
these are just their voices, not how they act. Like, you're talking about they act the exact same way. And they don't even...
When the context is applied to whatever the scene is, right? Character falls down a flight of stairs, right? You're going to hear the same noises, because how many different ways can you portray falling down a flight of stairs with just your voice? Sure, a couple of different ways, but at some point I'm going to be able to identify that, that's Connor's voice falling down the stairs. It doesn't matter if Connor is playing Sam Drake, Booker DeWitt, or Kanji. I'm like, that's Connor falling down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
What we're talking about, though, you also see them doing in a voice acting in a role.
I specifically just said how many different ways can you vocally inflect that you're falling down a flight of stairs. It's a lot of literally. I could do the Troy Baker thing that he does. Like he does it in all of his games where he's using his normal voice. He's not doing it in Indiana Jones. He's not doing it in The Last of Us. Those are different sounds.
Mhm.
because he puts on a different voice. But when he's using his Troy Baker voice, yeah, I hear it, and I go, it's Troy Baker.
Yeah.
Doing Troy Bakerisms.
I'm not saying that, but you act like the character gets impacted negatively.
Versus a character who I don't know their actor and I'm not familiar with their work because they're a no name or I'm just ignorant. I can be more immersed and be like, that's Yukiko. You know, I don't think of the actor who plays Yukiko. I go Yukiko. You know, because that's what I know. That's the benefit of hiring unknowns. Is nobody's going, that's so and so. That's why the original Star Wars has a bunch of fucking unknowns in it. Because if you put, I don't even know who's popular in the 70s. Clint Eastwood? Is he in the 70s? I don't fucking know. If you put Clint Eastwood in that role,
He's definitely popular.
It doesn't. If Clint Eastwood is Han Solo does not become Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's because Harrison Ford, who had done one other movie at that time, is Han Solo that he becomes Han Solo.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying, but I think in the case of voice acting, once again, you're being more rigid than you otherwise would be.
Acting is acting.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if it's your face or
that's like
you as an actor have to use your instruments, which is your body and your voice, to fit the job that you're supposed to do.
But I've
now
heard
with a voice actor where you're just in a booth, yes, you're not using the physical instruments as much, but you're still using the vocal ones.
Yeah.
And you would still use these vocal ones. Maybe they're a little bit more enhanced because you only have this, so you have to focus on it a little bit more. But you still use this tool. Just because in some wood shops I use a hammer and a saw doesn't mean that one is more important than the other. I still use them, you know? But
one is only important in one way. And I say this because I remember what fucking I'm having to dredge it from my mind. I think it was like fucking Disney film. Some character actor, stage actor was doing a role.
You're telling me Tom Holland does an animated film. You can't hear the Tom Hollandisms?
Depends on what he does for just that voice acting role because it changes. I mean, look at I always get his name, new Batman. Patterson.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah. That guy, he's gone into voice acting more and more now, and he changes his voice acting to the nth degree almost every single time he does
I'm not saying this is an every time thing. I'm saying when the actor uses their normal voice repeatedly, and I see it a lot. I've heard Troy Baker's normal voice a lot. That's why I said I don't have this problem when he does Indiana Jones. I don't have this problem when he does Joel, because he does a different voice.
I see. Yeah.
Right? David Hayter as Snake. If that's all David Hayter could do and did 13 other roles where he played Snake, you would look at him and go, it's fucking David Hayter, like he's doing the same thing he did with Snake. Like, what the hell is going on here? You know? But that's not David Hayter's voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. My issue is
I get it with Jennifer Hale sometimes too.
Mhm.
Because Jennifer Hale does a lot of the same, because she uses her natural voice in a lot of her work. So a lot of times I'm like, it's Jennifer Hale. I can't stop thinking about how that's Jennifer Hale. And I'm watching Jennifer Hale perform as opposed to watching Emma Emmerich or fucking Commander Shepard or whatever other Jennifer Hale performance you want to throw up there.
Yeah.
Her role in Bulletstorm, like whatever that character's name was, you know?
Trish.
Sure,
Yeah.
you know?
Trish.
And also, back to the Persona thing. Sometimes the first one to do it doesn't nail it. I don't think that's the case for Persona 4.
Yeah.
But maybe with Troy Baker. But sometimes the first guy to do it doesn't nail it. Final Fantasy VII Remake used all new voices. We've had voice casts for those characters before.
Yeah. But it was never hardline like the original was using it.
Huh?
Like you have an original baseline for when something is created, and it goes beyond that original creation. Like Final Fantasy VII, since there was no voice acting,
we had Advent Children, we had Dirge of Cerberus, we had Crisis Core.
Yeah, but there's no baseline establishing that voice for that character, which I think it serves as a very strong foundation for when you think of a character sounding a certain way. Which is why, for example, nobody remembers. Even though you played the base game of Persona 4, how they changed voice actors. Because, nobody really cared at the time.
For what game?
For Persona 4. Because the original version of it had different voice actors than Golden does. But when people think of things, because the voice
across the board or just a couple voices?
I think, like, some notable ones I remember hearing. Like, I know Chie was different.
I know Chie was different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rize was.
Nobody gave a shit about that.
Yeah, because they weren't good, That's the core thing here, whether that sounds good or not. And whether it's like baseline establishing what this character sounds like.
I guess
Usually works
I'm
in
just
tandem.
not attached to a actor being the character.
Yeah,
You know,
fair enough.
like I'm totally fine with a new take. I'm totally fine with change. Like that's totally fine. Not so much because I get stuck up on the isms thing that we spent way too long talking about. But like, I don't know. I'm from theater. There's been 10 million different fucking King Lears.
Mm-hmm.
So what if there's another one? Let's see what this new guy's got. You know, that's
where-
always the energy there.
Where did
Like,
Lear originate
and for some reason, for movies and television and now video games, like we just fucking siphon a character down to one thing, and that's how you end up with CG faced Luke Skywalkers.
That's a different thing. That's like
No,
people
it's
getting
because
old
Disney's
and
too much of a
dying.
fucking coward to recast Luke Skywalker. Just recast him. That's
Yeah.
how you end up with broken stories that don't make sense from their original movie, like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, where you go, where the fuck did T'Challa go? It's because they didn't recast him because Chadwick Boseman was the definitive T'Challa. No, he wasn't. He just played the role.
what's the underlining here thing? Greedy, evil, mega corporation Disney. I can't think of this for many other examples.
How is Disney being greedy?
Like we have to make sure it's like Luke Skywalker is like Luke Skywalker when he came on screen in 1970.
No, it's
he needs
because
to look like that.
they're too fucking cowardly to recast because Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, that's why they're
No,
making.
he's not.
That's
He's
why
Mark
they're
Hamill.
making 1-to-1 ratios of fucking How to Train Your Dragon. That's why, because they're
Well,
souls.
name me a character who the actor is that character,
And what?
or that character is the actor. Name me a character. Who
From
is that?
voice
for you?
acting to acting?
It doesn't matter. It does. They're the same thing.
Well, what are you asking? So reframe it again. What are you saying?
The thing I've just been saying about how Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker. No one else can do Luke Skywalker. Who is that for you? Because we can recast that motherfucker, and that motherfucker would probably do just as good of a job, maybe even a better job.
Yeah.
That's what we're always scared of, really, is maybe these motherfuckers do better.
Yeah.
And then what happens to the thing you love? Not the best version anymore. So
Yeah.
you got a better version of the thing you love, or you got a different version. Sometimes different is more enjoyable.
I think when people realize, like, oh, you're literally an old man, or you sound like an old man.
Who?
Mark Hamill. He doesn't sound the same as he used to.
No.
Yeah. So changing him.
But
it's
guess
like,
who does the voice of Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian?
Who?
Mark Hamill.
Does he?
Yes.
This is a Disney thing.
They put it's not a Disney thing, man. This is the public's weird attachment of actors to characters.
How often does that happen with other people?
Detach the actor from the character. They're not. There's
Indiana Jones.
There's not an exam. Well, well, clearly, we just had an example where we don't need Harrison Ford to do Indiana Jones.
Yes. Now here we're talking about video games, and know what? They're better than movies, so they do better in that area.
But people do this with video game characters too. People do this all the fucking time. It's only in the theater where we're like, yeah, you know, you play a character. This guy played it. That guy played it. That guy played it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that guy was Dracula. That guy was Dracula. That guy was
You know why?
Dracula.
'Cause the
that
baseline-
girl was Dracula. It was a fun time with that girl when that girl did Dracula.
Because the baseline for all of those is that they're all dead. They've been dead for hundreds of years. Whoever
Peter
did that
is
originally.
alive and well right now.
No, whoever did that originally. He was King Lear.
Oh, that guy's
was the-
really
yeah,
dead.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that guy's super dead.
Bones. He's
You know?
bones.
But so, you know what I mean? Denzel Washington's on stage doing Othello right now.
Mhm.
You're gonna tell me Othello is Denzel Washington? No.
Mhm.
You know? No. Othello's Othello.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I don't even know who that is. I know who. I've heard the name. I don't know what his story is.
We just need to. We don't need to be so precious with who's voicing what character.
I don't think so, unless they can just do it and want to do it.
Also
What's the
bugs me
reason?
that Yuri Lowenthal is just the Spider-Man guy now. Nobody else can
No?
be Spider-Man now. It's got to be Yuri. What are we doing?
He loves that character. Wants to
And
come
that's
back for it.
fine, and I'm glad that he loves it, and I'm glad he's willing to do it. And you know, he does his job as an actor, and he tries to make every Spider-Man a little bit different, and
Yeah.
so forth. But man, felt a little cheap when Yuri was Spider-Man in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. It felt a little cheap when Yuri was Spider-Man in Marvel Rivals. Like, you know, it's just like we couldn't get anybody else for this. We had to get the Insomniac guy. All right. He does great. He does great. It's still my favorite Spider-Man.
He's good. You can blame Spider-Man 1 for that. Marvel Spider-Man.
Why would I blame
Isn't that the first one he did?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one.
That's not it's not their fault.
It's his fault.
Different project.
It's his fault.
Only in the sense that he agreed to do it.
Yeah. You know.
But, I would do it. I'd play Spider-Man in every game ever if it were up to me.
Yeah, you are a loser like that.
You move on.
Oh, I know.
Fuck!
I know. Don't look at it.
See what happens when you don't have like a human experience and you just sit in your fucking robotic mind and just go, oh no, it's different because you got a different picture tied to it. It's the same voice, but it's got a different picture on it, so it's different.
As far as hangups are going, I think you talked more in these past however long we've been doing it.
Right, but you had the thing of like, oh, that's not a thing, Tavin. It's got a different picture to it. How could it be the same if it's a different picture?
Because you're getting hung up because you're a little bitch. Circle. Great circle. Putting the isosceles triangle in there. Putting glasses there. Drawing himself. You want to draw himself, putting a gun up to his head. That is him. Going to kill himself. In this photo. Not in real life. I think. Now he's going too far into it now. He's trying to draw not even his real hairstyle.
As a kid, I wanted to be a comic book artist.
That would have been cool.
Would have been cool.
Then you didn't want to
I started learning how to draw a little bit. Oh, Connor, it's not me. Connor, this is Stephen Smith.
Kevin.
Look, Connor, it's me, Stephen Smith.
This doesn't work when I can see you.
Oh, Connor, man, it's so great to see you again, buddy. I love you, buddy. Oh, man, it's me, your best friend,
saw
Tavin.
you, though.
Oh, now Stephen Smith is here.
I saw you.
Look, Stephen Smith is here.
He's being facetious. Whatever word I would use that's probably not properly
The fucking
used.
dumbest thing I've ever heard. The character sounds the exact same, but you different pictures. No different. What are you talking about? Oh, I only see his voice. I only hear his voice. I don't see his face. So it's got to be a different thing, even though he uses the same voice. What are you talking about? I think you just fucking idiot.
I think you just straw manned my argument.
Your argument was stupid.
I think you're just hung up on weird things, and most other people are too.
Now, if I went in here, Connor, don't forget. Yeah, oh, dude, it's solid Stephen Smith, man. Solid Steve. Connor. Done it. See, all right, yeah. Now, okay, that's a different character. Now, solid Stephen Smith is the same.
I think,
but when it's just this, Connor, this is Tavin doing the Tavinisms.
Tavin, I don't think
that's what I'm talking about.
I don't think you're a voice actor for a reason. Leave that to Phil, bud.